So if you're a loan officer out there who's interested in learning more, I mean, is this sort of something that you apply for? How do you qualify for it? How do you get enrolled and start learning so you can help veterans the right way?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I would say there's multiple ways that we can help you. And even if you don't want to join us in an official affiliation capacity, multiple ways we can help you. One, VettedVA, VettedVA.com. If you go there, you're going to find a lot of information. We have an annual white paper that we publish after HMDA data comes out that uses data analytics to argue common myths that agents, loan officers, and many other housing professional types have and hold to and speak to that mislead veterans, including some like just big talking heads out there, right? We put out this annual data analytics paper so that you don't have to argue with anyone. You don't have to get into an emotional dispute. You can use the facts of the circumstances to counter the incorrect beliefs, right? Poorly informed bias that people have. Ignorance. Don't be offended by that word if you're hearing it right now and you've been ignorant. I'm ignorant all the time. It's not a big deal. The point is you should seek to find your ignorances and cure them. So we have the white paper that we put out. We put out a free home buyer guide, which I think is probably better than any I've seen in the industry. And all of these things will support you. We have a lot of instructional pieces that are available on our website. If you go to YouTube, the VettedVA channel on YouTube has a ton of different content that teaches professionals and consumers alike many different things about the VA loans. If you want some sort of an official relationship with us, we have reservist training where we have our LMS, or learning management system, available online. It's all self-paced, and we'll send you through 20 plus courses. We've got probably a little over 20 hours right now today of module training on tactical level things that you need to know if you're going to originate or work with veterans in housing. And so we have the reservist program, which you can get into and you can subscribe to, I guess, all on your own accord onto the website, or you can come into a membership with us in an active duty role. And this is where we take you outside of just theory-based LMS, self-paced education and actually into an active-based protocol immersed in veteran circumstance. So we use the 65,000 member group that we have. We use the 4,500 member professionals group I'll talk about in a second. And we use several other groups where we encounter large volumes of questions from veterans or professionals for veterans. And we use those as opportunities to train. All of our active duty professionals moderate and answer these questions. They cite and source their answers. So instead of just educating in theory, we can educate in reality. And it isn't beholden to how many VA loans are you doing right now? Because if you're not doing very many, you probably aren't running into enough opportunities to practice your skill set. You ever seen the show Knock Around Guys?
I've not, but I'm looking for a new show.
Knock Around Boys? It's a movie, actually. Vin Diesel was in it. It's like 10 years old or so.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
This bar scene starts off, and Vin Diesel's in there, and he's like a mafia guy or something. Anyways, starts to get in a tussle with this big old redneck dude in the bar, and he looks at the guy right before the fight starts, and he says 400 or 4,000. I forget what the number is. Anyways, there's a lot. And the guy's like, what are you talking about? He's like, 400 was the number of fights that I figured I would need to get in before I could consider myself a legitimate street fighter. 400 was the number of fights I needed to get in before my knuckles would be beaten enough so that I would develop the calluses necessary. 400 was the number of fights. And he went into this whole thing to describe how many engagements that he had that he needed to get into before he would know he was well-versed, experienced, and prepared to do this next thing, which was his final goal. And so it takes repetition to become proficient at anything.
Yeah.
So whether it's repetition on searching through the handbook or the Ginnie Mae selling guide or circulars or any of these other things, you have to get to a place to where you can be pushed to continually practice muscle memory on what do I do when I don't know? Because that's what happens to a lot of professionals, whether they've done 10 or 200 VA loans. You always run into a new, oh man, I don't know. What do you do when you don't know? We teach a process to that, and we teach it in a lot of different ways. Any of y'all listening, you can come to our website. You can join up with us in a couple different ways. If you don't want to join us officially and be put through all of our training, which will break you off, it's the most challenging, most robust, most cost-efficient VA training in housing in America. And I'll make that promise to you if you're listening to this right now. There's not a company out there that's going to push you harder and farther and make you fail more frequently and fairly than we will. Because I think that's any company's job to do if they're telling you that they're going to train you. And if you don't want to go into it that deep, you can join our Facebook group, VettedVA for Professionals Only. This is a group where, I said a second ago, we have 4,500 members or so professionals in this group, where anybody can ask a question. And our moderators, our active duty members, will answer their questions and teach around what that concern is so that they can know for sure and cite and source the answer. I don't care if every one of Veterans United's loan officers joined that Facebook group so that they could finally get all of the real answers to the questions that they're encountering and giving to veterans, right? We don't care who you are, what your background is. We care that if you have a question that's going to help or hurt a veteran, that you make sure that you know the answer and you can point to where the answer's at.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it's a great cause. Totally, if you guys haven't researched it, you haven't gotten into it, you have any interest in helping veterans out there, look it up. Highly recommended. And if you don't know if you are not versed in doing a VA loan, then maybe you should be partnering with someone or finding somebody who is it a certification? I mean, how is it? Yeah.
Yeah. So we have our trademark now officially, right? We actually have all of our moderators go through testing and training so they can teach certified classes in different places, whether it's to consumers or professionals, right? But if you go through our process, it's a rank-based protocol that certifies you to different levels as you go. We have 5 ranks revealed right now. We'll have a total of 9 ranks revealed eventually. This year, we're going to be rolling out probably 1 or 2 more. The ranks are dependent upon your own personal efforts and accomplishments. They're not freely given at all. You can't even get to our 5th rank your first year of enlistment with us. We offer terms of enlistment 12 months at a time, effectively, and there's no promise that you can continue just because you're willing to pay and saying you're wanting to. You have to follow our standards, our protocols, and if you fall off of that trajectory, we have a few different ways where we can hopefully motivate you and get you back on course.